Let's talk about coin capsules. Capsules are a great way of storing your coins. They provide fantastic physical and even some chemical protection to your coins. They isolate the coin for those of you who don't want to physically touch your collection while still allowing you to look at them. For many, they also make the coin easier to handle. Lots of ancient coins are quite tiny, so they make it easier for you to grip, to manipulate each individual coin. And since capsules come in standardized sizes, once all your coins are inside a capsule, they become an object of a standard size, which makes it much easier to store your collection. However, not all capsules are made the same. There are a few things you should have in mind in order to decide if capsules are for you, and what kinds of capsules should you get. So stick around. Remember to leave a like in this video and subscribe to my newsletter, which you can find in the link in the description of this video, where I share weekly tips on ancient coin collecting, as well as some numismatic news. Okay, let's get started. Now, I'm not going to overcomplicate something that is relatively simple, but I want you to understand what capsules are made out of, the basics at least. So, a capsule is exactly what you see here, a plastic transparent shell that protects your coin while allowing you to see through it. This transparent capsule is made out of some kind of plastic, and most of them are either round or square. Round capsules seem to be the more common, and they are perfectly fine, but for an ergonomics point of view, I would personally recommend you take a look at the square ones. Personally, I feel like they give a superior grip to the coin, so it's easier to hold them. And they are easier to store, despite their slightly bigger size and them being slightly more expensive. So, materials. Let's begin with the shell of the capsule. What matters the most for us is that it is archival-safe. This means the plastic needs to be hard and resistant to scratches. It needs to be transparent and chemically stable so that it can protect the coin for long-term storage without releasing any kinds of vapors or chemicals that interact with the coin over time when it is in storage. The two most common materials for this shell are polystyrene and acrylic. Polystyrene is a very common and a more affordable material for capsules, and most of the cheaper capsules will be made out of this kind of plastic. It is good enough. It is chemically stable, but it is prone to scratching, and it has the tendency of yellowing with time. If you're keeping your coins in a well-protected room without exposure to sunlight or lots of humidity, this yellowing effect can take decades to happen, but still, it will happen. It will make looking at the coin a worse experience, so it's important to consider this. Acrylic, on the other hand, is more expensive, but it is also generally considered the better performer for the long-term storage. It should remain perfectly transparent for a lifetime. It is also super scratch resistant, which I find particularly convenient for ancient coins, because many of these have very high reliefs, meaning they might come in contact with the inner surface of the shell and rub against it, which would very likely scratch a polystyrene capsule. Many ancient coins also have like sharp edges, so acrylic ends up being a more convenient and maybe even like mandatory solution specifically for ancient coins. And since I've just mentioned the high relief of ancient coins, this is a particular consideration we need to have when shopping for capsules. Unlike coin flips, which are flexible, the outer shell of a capsule is not. So it's important to keep in mind how thick the coins you collect are, and make sure you get a capsule that can hold this type of coin. If you collect something like Greek tetradrachma, certain types of Indian coins, whatever it is, certain types of coins are very thick, and these need special capsules that can hold them. Okay, we've covered the outer shell. Now, cheaper capsules generally come with just that shell. This means that your coin will be rattling around inside the capsule. Personally, this bothers me a lot, so many capsules come with some kind of flexible foam inside of it, meant to hold the coin in place and cushion it. For this foam insert, like inside the capsule, the requirements for this material are that it has to hold the coin firmly enough that it does not move around, while also cushioning it from impact. Also, it must not shed particles, it must not stick to the metal or chemically react with the coin in any way. That means it also has to be archival-safe. It should also be stable with time. After all, it will be in contact with our coins for decades, so it should not harden, crumble, change in any way. I know I'm repeating myself with this term, archival-safe, but I urge you to always check with the manufacturer if your storage, what you're buying, is archival-safe. You just need to ask, it doesn't cost anything. Particularly in the case of capsules, in these plastic solutions, it must mean that it does not contain any PVC or other chemically feisty plastics that will react and ruin your coin. It's worth it to spend a little bit of time to do the research to make sure what you are buying is archival-safe. Okay, so for the insert foam materials, the most common ones are EVA foams, polyethylene, and less common, there are also silicone inserts. This foam has to have enough flexibility to hug and hold the coin neatly in the center of the capsule. But ideally, you want to choose a capsule with an insert that already matches the diameter of your coin as closely as possible, so the fit is snug from the start. If the opening is not quite right, it's a bit too tight, some inserts can be trimmed with some scissors. But many modern capsules, they already solve this with pre-cut concentric rings that you can peel away one by one until the coin fits properly. It's a simple system, but a very useful one because it lets the capsule adapt to different diameters while still keeping the coin secure and well-centered. And for those who like the look of graded coins, there are also rectangular capsules designed to imitate the general size and form of grading company holders. They're a very clever compromise, actually. Whoever invented this was kind of smart. Unlike the normal grading slabs, they can still be opened whenever you want, so you keep full access to the coin. That's actually great. For me, it removes one of the main drawbacks of traditional slabs. The fact your coin is entombed within this plastic coffin, and if you want to remove it, you pretty much need to smash the capsule. So they give you this rigid rectangular frame, and they also add a nice little space at the top for a custom label. I also find this particularly useful because you can write whatever information actually matters to you in this insert. And as a small practical bonus, if you already own storage boxes made for these style holders, I think NGC has some standardized holder boxes, these little slab style capsules, they can fit right in. Finally, after you picked your capsule, either square or round, the size and material of the shell, and with or without an internal foam, the next step would be to actually get a storage solution, somewhere to store your capsules in. Which leads us to one of the main disadvantages of capsules. They are noticeably more expensive than flips, though given the price of many ancient coins, I would not necessarily call them expensive in absolute terms. And the larger issue is often one of space. Capsules do take up far more room, which makes them less practical for larger high volume collections. If you have hundreds or maybe thousands of lower value coins, encapsulating every single one can quickly become inefficient both in cost and in available space that you need to have. That being said, we need to remember we're not absolutely restricted to capsules. Many collectors simply use capsules for the coins they consider more important, and the lesser coins of the collection, they go into flips. So, after you picked the type of capsule, you might want to pick this storage solution, something you keep your capsules in. Fortunately, there are several solutions at the market to store capsule collections. For collectors who prefer the album format, there are binder pages, so just like a page where you keep your coins and flips, but it's made for capsules. And if you prefer a more traditional cabinet-like setup, there are also trays made for common capsule sizes. And these can go in some sort of case, or maybe in a fancier solution, an actual coin cabinet. And this is the solution I like the most. It lets you lay the coins out neatly, and you can view them at a glance as a group and in this entire tray, and then you can pick the coins up individually. So, capsules, not very complicated. If you have the space to store them, definitely a step up from flips. And I think you should give them a look, especially as you start collecting more expensive coins, or you just can't stand the idea of physical contact with your pieces. I'm actually curious, how do you store your ancient coins? How do you do it? Let me read in the comment section down below. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like and consider subscribing if you did. Subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll see you soon. Let me give a special thank you to all of my amazing channel members and Patreons for their generous support. This channel would not be the same without your help. And if you would like to be part of this list, have early access to my videos when they are uploaded to YouTube, and a series of other perks, make sure to check out my Patreon page and my members tab on YouTube. Thank you very much.